The whole galaxy watched the council chamber as the warning message echoed across the stars. The Galactic Council spoke with calm voices, but everyone could feel the fear behind their words. Something dangerous was coming. Something only humans could stop. But the alien leaders laughed. They laughed because they believed humans were weak, emotional, and unpredictable. They laughed because they thought their advanced technology made them untouchable. They laughed because they didn't understand what humans could do when pushed too far. Far from the council chambers, a human fleet stood silent in the dark space near the border. Captain Arin stood on the command deck of the flagship, listening to the council recording. His jaw clenched. His eyes stayed fixed on the stars. He already knew that the warning would be ignored. He already knew the aliens would make fun of humanity. But he also knew something the aliens did not. Humans never backed down. Not when they were insulted. Not when they were threatened. And especially not when innocent lives were at risk. While the alien empires celebrated and mocked Earth's advice, something strange happened on the edges of the galaxy. Entire outposts went silent. Patrol ships disappeared without a trace. Sensor stations detected something moving in the void, massive shapes, almost invisible, traveling faster than anything known. Reports reached the council, but they dismissed every message. They said humanity was overreacting again. They said humans always imagine danger. They refused to prepare. And then the first attack came. A bright flash tore across the sky near the Arcani sector. 5 alien colonies, gone in seconds. No survivors. No distress calls. Only a burning trail of destruction. The council panicked. Their voices trembled. For the first time, they sensed real fear. They begged for help. They asked who could stop this unknown threat. And slowly, all eyes turned toward Earth. Humanity had warned them. Humanity had begged them to take action. Humanity had offered help, unity, and safety. But they had laughed instead. Now they needed the same species they insulted. What they didn't know was that humanity had already decided. They would help. But this time, the galaxy would learn what humans truly were. They weren't weak. They weren't emotional. They weren't predictable. They were unstoppable when defending their own. The engines of the human fleet roared to life. Captain Arin stared at the star map as the threat moved closer. He whispered a single order that changed the galaxy forever. Prepare retaliation. And the galaxy never laughed again. The Galactic Council chamber shone with silver lights and tall crystal pillars, but the room felt cold. Delegates from many alien races sat in floating chairs, whispering among themselves. Every eye was on the giant holoscreen in front of them. The screen showed a message sent by humans, another warning. Another attempt to save the galaxy. Another chance for the council to listen. They didn't. The moment the human message ended, soft laughter filled the chamber. It started with a few aliens, then spread slowly until the whole room was shaking with amusement. The council members covered their glowing eyes or waved their tentacles dramatically as they mocked Earth's message. Humans always believe danger is coming, one delegate said. They love fear. It makes them feel important, another replied. A tall, thin alien leaned back in his chair and smirked. They enjoy pretending they are heroes. That is their weakness. The entire chamber laughed again. But not everyone. Counselor Arin, one of the few who respected humans, watched the message again in silence. The humans had reported strange signals from deep space. Entire systems going dark without any sign of battle. Patrols losing contact. Unknown energy spikes. These things were not normal. These things were dangerous. But the council did not care. To them, humanity was still a young species. Too emotional. Too dramatic. Too unpredictable. They believed humans saw threats everywhere. And because the message came from Earth, the Council dismissed it without a second thought. Arin opened his mouth to speak, but the High Speaker raised a hand. "Enough," she said. "We will not waste time on human fantasies. We have real issues to discuss." Arin felt frustration rise in his chest. "But High Speaker, humans rarely send a message with this level of urgency. Something serious may." "Counselor," the High Speaker cut him off sharply, "Earth simply wants attention. They always send warnings. They always imagine invisible enemies. And they always believe they are the only ones who can save us." The Council laughed again. Arin lowered his head. He knew there was no point arguing. The Council had already closed their minds. They could not see past their pride. Meanwhile, far from the shining chambers of the Council, a different scene unfolded. On the bridge of a human fleet ship, Captain Arin stood quietly, watching the stars. His face was calm, but his fists were tight. He had expected the Council to ignore the warning. He had expected the insults. He had expected the jokes. But he also knew something the Council did not. The danger was real. The missing outposts were real. The vanishing signals were real. And the strange shapes moving in deep space were very real. Arin had seen the images himself. They were huge, almost invisible creatures or machines, no one knew. They moved faster than anything known in the galaxy. Their energy signatures were unlike anything in the archives. And they were heading toward populated space. Arin turned to his crew. "Any response from the Council?" His communications officer shook her head. "They said the message was unnecessary. They said we were worrying too much. They said humanity should not spread panic." Arin closed his eyes for a moment, letting the frustration pass through him. "Of course," he whispered. They laughed again. The officer hesitated. "Captain, what if the Council never listens?" Arin opened his eyes. They were sharp. Determined. Human. "Then we do what humans always do," he said. "We prepare alone." Back in the Council chamber, the High Speaker finally ended the mockery. "Let us move on. Our next topic is the budget for interstellar festivals." The crowd cheered. Music and celebrations mattered more to them than invisible danger. But Arin could not ignore the fear growing in his mind. Something about the human message felt different this time. Their tone. Their urgency. Their words. Humans never begged. Humans never warned without proof. Humans never showed fear unless something was truly wrong. He opened the message one more time. A human voice spoke. "To the Honorable Council, we ask you to take this threat seriously. We do not exaggerate. We do not seek attention. We seek unity. The galaxy is in danger. If we do not prepare now, it may be too late." Arin felt chills run down his spine. He looked around the chamber and saw nothing but pride and arrogance on the faces of the other delegates. They were too confident in their technology. Too sure of their defenses. Too certain that nothing could threaten them. He knew they were wrong. Every instinct in his body told him something dark was coming from the edges of the galaxy. Something even the Council did not understand. Something that would not stop. And only humanity could see it coming. As the Council continued laughing and celebrating, Arin whispered quietly to himself, "We should have listened." But his voice was lost in the noise. Little did they know that their laughter would soon become screams. And the first sign of that dark future was already moving closer, hidden in the cold shadow of space. Humanity had warned them. And the galaxy had mocked them. Soon, they would pay the price for their ignorance. The first disappearance happened quietly, almost silently, like someone blowing out a candle in a dark room. No alarm. No explosion. No distress call. One moment the outpost was active, lights on, systems humming, people talking. The next moment, every signal vanished. It was a mining station on the far edge of the galaxy. A small place where workers harvested rare minerals. Nothing special. Nothing important. But when the human patrol ship tried to contact the station, there was no reply. They sent another message. Still silence. Then they scanned the area. The station was gone. Not damaged. Not broken. Not destroyed. Gone. Only a faint burn mark floated where the outpost once stood, like something huge had passed through the area and erased the station from existence. Captain Arin received the report on his command deck. The moment he read it, he felt a cold weight settle in his stomach. "This is the third structure this week," his officer said in a soft voice. "First the relay beacon. Then the scout drone hub. Now this mining station." Arin nodded slowly. He was calm on the outside, but inside he felt the tension growing stronger every hour. "What about the council?" he asked. The officer hesitated. "They said it must be technical problems." Arin almost laughed. Technical problems didn't make buildings disappear. Technical problems didn't erase metal, stone, and hundreds of lives. Technical problems didn't leave behind strange energy scars. But that was the problem with the Galactic Council. They believed what made them comfortable, not what was true. Arin walked to the large window of the bridge and looked out at the infinite darkness. Somewhere out there, something was hunting. Something powerful. Something silent. And he knew it was only the beginning. Meanwhile, the council received a brief summary of the missing outpost. As usual, they read it with amusement. "Humans again," one delegate said with a smirk. "Always panicking. Always imagining monsters," another added. They all laughed, just like before. But Counselor Arin did not laugh. He stared at the report for a long time, reading every line twice. Something about the disappearances felt wrong. Outposts did not simply vanish. There was no sign of rebels. No sign of pirates. No sign of natural disasters. It felt like someone, or something, was taking entire stations without leaving a body behind. Arin stood up slowly. "We should send a council investigation ship," he said. The High Speaker waved a hand dismissively. "And waste resources on a mistake? No. This is human exaggeration. But 3 disappearances in 1 week. Humans lose things all the time," the High Speaker said. "It is not our business." The council returned to their gossip and jokes, completely blind to the danger creeping toward them. On the human fleet, Arin decided not to waste more time. Humans had learned long ago that waiting for the council meant waiting for disaster. "Send drones to Sector 7, he ordered. His team responded quickly. 10 drones shot forward into deep space, scanning every corner, every shadow, every piece of dust. Minutes later, the first signal arrived. "Captain, we found something." Arin turned sharply. "Show me." The screen flickered. The image was dark and grainy at first, but then shapes appeared. Long marks carved into asteroids. Huge scars in space dust. Something big had moved through there. Something that left a trail of destruction behind it. The drone moved closer. Suddenly, the picture blurred. Static filled the screen. Then it went black. The drone was gone. Arin felt the tension tighten in his chest. "Send another drone," he said. The second drone approached the same region. It sent back one final message before its signal vanished too. A single word appeared on the holoscreen. "Run." Arin stepped back in shock. Drones didn't send messages like that. They didn't feel fear. They didn't warn. Something must have forced that signal. Something intelligent. "Captain," the officer whispered, "what is happening out there?" Arin didn't answer. He stared at the screen, thinking. If drones were being destroyed instantly, if stations were disappearing, if unknown shapes were leaving trails, then humanity was facing something unlike anything they had seen before. Something was coming. And it was coming fast. That same night, far across the galaxy, another alien colony went silent. A large one this time, tens of thousands of inhabitants. They vanished without a sound. The council received the report hours later. This must be human interference, someone said. Humans are trying to scare us, another claimed. They want to look like heroes, a third added. More laughter. More jokes. More arrogance. Councillor Arin could no longer stay silent. Enough, he shouted, rising from his chair. You are blind. Something is happening. Something is coming. And if we do not unite, it will destroy us. The room fell silent for the first time. The high speaker looked at him calmly. Sit down, Arin. There is nothing out there. But Arin did not sit. He looked around the chamber and spoke in a low voice that carried across the room. Then why are systems dying? Why are stations disappearing? Why are signals going dark? Why are humans preparing for war? No one answered. Because deep inside, even the proudest alien in the chamber felt a small spark of fear. Something didn't feel right. Something felt wrong. And for the first time, the council wondered if maybe, just maybe, humans were not imagining danger this time. But it was already too late. The disappearances were only the beginning. The attack did not begin with noise. It did not begin with fire, or weapons, or warnings. It began with silence, the kind of silence that felt alive. In the Arcanes sector, a group of alien colonies floated peacefully among the stars. The people living there believed they were safe. They trusted the Galactic Council. They trusted their shields, their patrols, their technology. They trusted that the galaxy was calm, and danger was far away. They were wrong. At 3:21 Standard Time, every light in the first colony flickered. Then, all at once, the entire colony went dark. Communications went offline. Systems shut down. For a moment, the people thought it was a power failure. Then the sky changed. A huge shadow passed across the star. It moved slowly at first, like a giant creature waking up from a deep sleep. It was nearly invisible, a shimmering outline that shifted like smoke and metal combined. Sensors tried to scan it, but the data broke. Inside the control tower, a worker stared at the screen. What is that? No one answered. No one could. The shadow leaned forward. A bright blue line flashed across its surface. And then the colony vanished in a burst of light, silent, instant, complete. Not one piece was left behind. The second colony saw the flash. They panicked. Ships scrambled. Alarms screamed. People shouted and ran. But the shadow turned toward them next. It did not rush. It did not fear. It moved like it owned the galaxy. One captain in the second colony shouted into a communicator, "Call the council. Call anyone. Something is here." But every signal was swallowed by static. On the human flagship, Captain Arin received the collapsed emergency burst, a broken, messy signal full of noise. But inside the distortion was a single terrified voice. "They're here." Arin froze. He turned to his crew. "Prepare full activation. We need visuals on Arcanes now." The holoscreen blinked to life. What it showed made the entire bridge fall silent. Colony 2 was already being pulled apart, piece by piece, as if some invisible hand was crushing it from the inside. Ships tried to escape, but the shadow moved faster. A thin beam of blue light touched each ship, and in a second, it dissolved into glowing dust. No explosions. No debris. Only dust. The shadow felt alive, like a predator taking its time. Arin's voice was low. Run a full threat scan. Find out what we're facing. His officer swallowed nervously. Captain, the energy signature matches nothing in any database. Arin stared at the screen, his jaw tightening. So it's something new. Something ancient, the officer whispered. Something hungry. By the time Colony 3 tried to send evacuation ships, the shadow reached them too. And this time, something even worse appeared. Smaller shadows, like children of the larger one, broke off and started hunting the escape pods. They moved with terrifying speed, flickering in and out of visibility. One pod sent a final message before disappearing. It sees us. Back in the council chamber, the high speaker sipped a glowing drink and smiled. Our next agenda. A sudden alarm cut through the room. Red warning lights flashed. Every delegate sat straight, confused and concerned. A robotic voice filled the chamber. Emergency alert, Arcani's sector, lost. Whispers exploded through the room. Lost? What do they mean lost? Is this another human mistake? The high speaker opened the live feed. She expected to see a technical problem. Maybe a solar flare. Maybe human exaggeration. What she saw instead made the color drain from her face. The holoscreen showed the giant shadow drifting across space, its shape shifting like liquid metal and smoke. Colonies were broken. Ships were melting. Dust floated where cities once stood. The council chamber fell completely silent. Councillor Arin stared at the destruction with wide eyes. High speaker, it destroyed 3 colonies in minutes. For the first time in years, he continued softly, humans did not exaggerate. Many council members were shaking. Others tried to hide their fear but failed. One whispered, "What is that thing?" The high speaker finally spoke, but her voice trembled. Contact Earth. Ask humanity for assistance at once. Everyone turned toward her in shock. Hours earlier, she had mocked humans. Now she needed them. On the human flagship, Arin received the council request. The message was short and desperate. We need your help. Please respond. Arin stared at it for a long second. Then he whispered, now they understand. The bridge crew waited for his next command. Arin stood tall. His voice was steady, strong, human. Activate all fleets. Prepare the Exodus Protocol. We are facing a level 0 threat. His officer froze. Captain. Level 0 means, extinction threat. Arin nodded. Exactly. The human fleet engines roared to life, glowing bright blue against the dark void. For the first time, the galaxy saw humanity move with full purpose. Not defensive. Not cautious. Not diplomatic. But ready for war. The shadow in Arcani's slowly turned, almost as if it sensed new prey approaching. Humanity. And this time, the galaxy would not laugh. The human fleet did not move like a normal army. It moved like a single living creature, fast, silent, and deadly. Every ship activated deep blue engines that left bright trails behind them. The galaxy had seen human ships before, but never like this. Never fully armed. Never fully united. Never fully serious. For the first time, the galaxy saw what humanity looked like when it stopped holding back. Captain Arin stood in front of the main holotable, watching star maps update in real time. Red marks showed the destroyed colonies. Blue marks showed human fleets. The shadow in Arcani's was growing, spreading through space like slow-moving fire. His crew waited for his order. Play the last signal from Arcani's, Arin said. The holoscreen flickered and showed static. Then a shaky voice spoke. It sees us, it's learning us, run. The signal broke. Silence filled the bridge. Arin turned to his weapons chief. Prepare the Helios cannons. Sink all ships. We strike together. The chief blinked. Captain, the Helios cannons were never tested in real combat. Arin looked at him with calm, steady eyes. This is real enough. Back at the Galactic Council, panic spread like fire. Delegates ran around, shouting orders, demanding answers, blaming each other. None of them could hide behind pride anymore. None of them could deny the truth. The shadow was real. The destruction was real. And humans were the only ones brave enough to move toward the danger, not away from it. Counselor Arin stood in the center of the chaos and whispered, "Please, humans, hurry." Arin's fleet reached the edge of the Arcani sector. And there it was. The shadow. It floated in the darkness like a giant creature made of smoke and broken mirrors. Small parts of its body flickered in and out of existence. It looked alive. A predator scanning the stars for its next meal. Arin felt a cold fear crawl through him, but he didn't step back. "Launch drone sweep," he ordered. The drones flew forward, scanning every detail. Strange results filled the screens. No solid body detected. Unknown energy signature. Structure constantly changing. Attacks predicted to ignore shields. Arin read every line. The shadow was not a machine. Not a creature. Not a ship. It was something in between, something the galaxy had never seen. And humanity was about to fight it. A sudden flash streaked across space. One of the smaller shadows, fast as lightning, shot toward the fleet. "Incoming," the officer shouted. Arin reacted instantly. "Activate Nova shields." The human ships glowed bright white. The small shadow hit the shield and broke apart into dust. The crew gasped. Arin nodded once. "Good. We can hurt them." The shadow moved again, slow, curious, watching. Arin raised his voice. "Target the main mass. Aim for the bright core shapes. Fire Helios cannon in 3. The blue glow inside the cannon grew brighter and brighter. 2. The fleet synced perfectly, every ship aligning their weapons. 1. A single heartbeat passed. Fire. A beam of golden light shot from every human ship, merging into a gigantic spear of burning energy. It cut across space and slammed into the shadow. The explosion was blinding. The human crew shielded their eyes. Shockwaves rocked their ships. The entire sector lit up like a second sun had been born. When the light faded, the shadow was damaged. Huge wounds spread across its body. Parts of it broke away, drifting like black dust. It let out a deep, vibrating sound that felt like a roar. The first time the galaxy ever heard it scream. Arin whispered, "So you can bleed." But the victory lasted only seconds. The shadow twisted violently, its shape changing faster than before. The light inside it turned red, pulsing like a furious heartbeat. Then it attacked. A massive wave of dark energy rushed toward the human fleet. It moved like a storm, ready to crush everything in its path. "Brace for impact." Arin shouted. The wave hit. Human ships shook. Metal groaned. Alarms screamed. Shields cracked like glass. Several smaller ships lost power and drifted helplessly. Sparks flew across the bridge. Arin grabbed the railing as the floor shook beneath him. "Status," he shouted. "Shields at 40%, an officer replied. "Weapons cooling. Engine 2 offline." Arin steadied himself. "We're still alive. That means we fight." The shadow surged again, ready for another strike. But this time, humanity was faster. "Fire secondary weapons." Arin ordered. Dozens of missiles launched, spiraling through space. Smart lasers, pulse cannons, and plasma arcs joined them. The night sky turned into a storm of fire. The shadow tried to dodge, but the attacks tore more pieces from its body. Tiny shadows, the smaller ones, shot out angrily to defend it. They rushed toward the human ships like hungry insects. Arin saw them coming. Activate arc field. Electric blue energy exploded outward, frying the smaller shadows into dust instantly. The crew cheered, but only for a moment. Because the main shadow was not dying. It was changing again. Growing. Learning. Arin watched as a long arm of darkness stretched toward the fleet, dividing into sharp lines like claws. For the first time, he felt something he hated. Fear. "Captain," his officer whispered, "what do we do now?" Arin looked at the massive threat on the screen, eyes burning with determination. "We finish what we started," he said. "Send message to all ships. Prepare final formation." Humanity was not running. Not today. The shadow moved closer. Human weapons heated up. The galaxy held its breath. The real war was about to begin. The shadow loomed over the human fleet like a living nightmare stretching across the stars. Wounded, angry, and learning fast, it changed shape again, larger, sharper, faster. Red lights pulsed inside it like furious eyes. It moved closer, ready to crush whatever stood in its way. Captain Arin watched it with steady eyes. His ship trembled. His people were scared. The galaxy waited, helpless and silent. But Arin did not look away. "Status on all ships," he said calmly. His officer checked the screen. "Most ships damaged. Shields low. But, they are still with us." Arin nodded. "Good. Then we strike as one." Human fleets around him tightened formation until they formed a giant glowing circle, the final formation, a battle tactic so dangerous that no species had ever attempted it before. But humans were known for doing things others called impossible. On the Council world, the Galactic Council stared at live footage. The room was silent, filled with fear and shame. Aliens who once laughed at Earth now held their breaths, praying for humanity to save them. Counselor Arin whispered, "Please, please survive." The shadow moved first. It launched a massive wave of dark energy, larger than anything before. It spread across space like a giant mouth ready to swallow the fleet. Arin raised his hand. "Activate barrier weave." The human circle glowed bright blue, lines of energy weaving between ships like threads of light. The wave hit the barrier. Explosion shook space itself. For a moment, the barrier bent, cracked, then held. Humans held. The shadow screeched, the sound echoing through every speaker, every sensor, an angry, painful scream. Arin stepped forward. "All ships, prepare the Exodus charge." His officers' eyes widened. "Captain, if we release that much power, our ships." "We know the risk," Arin said softly. "But the galaxy dies if we do nothing." The shadow prepared another attack. Humans prepared their last. Every human ship charged its reactor, pulling energy from core to weapon systems. The air inside the flagship trembled. Metal shook like it might break. Arin gave one final look at his crew. They looked tired, scared, bruised, but ready. Humans always found strength at the edge of fear. "Begin countdown," he said. The lights dimmed. The engines roared. Weapons glowed white-hot. 5. The shadow's core brightened. 4. Smaller shadows swarmed around it like angry children. 3. Human ships cracked under the pressure but held formation. 2. Arin closed his eyes for 1 second. Not to pray. But to remember why they fought, because humanity never abandoned anyone, even those who mocked them, even those who doubted them. 1. He opened his eyes. Fire. The sky became pure white. A beam of energy larger than anything ever created shot from the human fleet. It crossed space like a burning river, ripping through emptiness and smashing into the shadow's body. The explosion was so bright that distant planets saw a second sun appear in the sky. The shadow howled. Its body tore apart in massive pieces. Red lights faded. The smaller shadows evaporated like smoke. The giant creature twisted violently, trying to escape, trying to reform, but the human attack was too strong. Humanity had poured everything into that strike. Everything. Inside the flagship, alarms screamed as reactors overheated. Arin gripped the command table. Hold, hold. The pressure was enormous. Ship after ship shut down or lost power. Some drifted away, smoking and broken. But the beam continued, carving deeper into the shadow until a second explosion. Then silence. The screen cleared. The shadow was gone. Not wounded. Not hiding. Not recovering. Gone. Dust floated where the creature once existed, a soft silver dust that shimmered and disappeared. Arin exhaled slowly. Report. His officer wiped tears from her eyes. Threat eliminated, Captain, it's over. Arin stood quietly for a moment. He didn't cheer. He didn't smile. He simply whispered, humanity endures. Across the galaxy, billions of people saw the footage. They watched humanity, the species they mocked, doubted, and ignored, destroy the nightmare that had wiped out colonies in minutes. The Galactic Council was silent. Nobody laughed now. Nobody smirked or mocked. They watched the battered human fleet drift slowly, damaged but victorious. Counselor Arin stepped forward and bowed his head deeply. We owe them everything. The High Speaker trembled, shame filling her voice. Send a message to Earth. Ask for forgiveness. And ask how we can repay them. Meanwhile, Arin stood on the bridge as rescue ships moved to support the damaged vessels. His crew looked at him with pride. He nodded at them, but exhaustion weighed on his shoulders. The officer approached him gently. Captain, we saved them. Arin looked out at the stars. We saved the galaxy. But it came with a price. Many good people fell today. She lowered her head. Will the council understand now? Arin gave a small, bitter smile. They will understand fear. But they will also understand this. He turned away from the window, his steps steady despite the chaos. No one should ignore humanity again. Days later, a memorial was held. The galaxy honored the human fleet, not as a young race, not as emotional beings, but as saviors. As protectors. As warriors who stood alone when everyone else doubted them. And every species remembered one truth. When humanity warns, listen. When humanity rises, move aside. When humanity fights, run. The galaxy never forgot the lesson. Because the day humanity struck back, the stars themselves shook.